Yeah, NBA Straya, and the guy from Creed, yeah. That's right, it's NBA Straya, it's April 12, Friday, 2GIF, am I right? I'd hate to be a tin in about 45 minutes, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, I'm your host, James Clements. You can also see me on the official AFL Supercoach podcast, the AFL Today Show, and of course, Fox Sports Lab NBA, all that good stuff there. Here in Larry Armour Studios, got Mr. Cooper over there in the corner, Deli, cut out Deli behind me, a couple of jingles, one's up on the wall. There you go, the Bucks and the Yaz. Love that. Anyway, here to break down all things NBA for you. We had a chaotic sort of day towards the end of this one. Knicks Boston was awesome. Not if you're a Boston fan. And someone threw a chicken wing on the floor in Sacramento. Sure. But the seedings chaos continues. We'll talk all that out in the NBA Straya Game Wraps. We've also got That's Not a Knife, Old Mate, No Mate, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo Ball. There's some the Unpopular Opinion of the Day, and Outback Takehouse, where we're serving up a Flame Girl take. There is also Dickhead of the Week, because it is Friday, which is always good. And Andrew Gay's Grey Mum Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence. Or maybe a sweaty, hairy bloke. Yeah, let's do... Oh, and also a bit of a Shane Hill shoot. We're just going to do them all, he says. And we'll pick and preview the entire weekend slate. There are actually no games on Sunday. So we've got 15 games on Saturday, 15 games on Monday. Awesome. As we head into the playoffs. 2 games each for everybody. It's kind of fun. It's a good setup. The NBA got it right. Props. Right, let's do it. Episode 1000 and I believe 73 of NBA Straya. Oh, let's go!
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze, and you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
Watch out for the Shaq attack.
Oh, you better. Especially with Zion. It was good to have Chuck to give us the example of how Zion should have fallen, which I enjoyed, and Shaq was just rolling. He was literally ruffling, which was good. Enjoyed that. Zion did sort of go off injured with the wrist today and then came back and dominated. So, don't know what to make of that one. Anyway, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Straya. I believe it's with a daily... Oh, it's a whip crack, isn't it, Jim? Yes. Actually, with that, they're sort of falling over and hurting yourself. And NBA on TNT, that was their last regular season game, obviously, because we've only got basically 2 days worth of games left. So, it was kind of fun. Kind of nice to see them all having fun, cracking wires at Chuck. Anyway, the daily whip around. Golden State. Watch out now, because they have just stolen home court away from the Los Angeles Lakers of Los Angeles, California in the play-in tournament. That's right, because they just keep winning. All they do is win, no matter what. Even though Draymond will blow his bloody top. They've won 9 of their last 10. It's pretty good. But they tied up the Kings as well as the Lakers. So we've got a 3-way tie, 8, 9, 10 in the West at the moment, which is very fun. The Kings in the 8, they can't get into 6 now because of their loss today, which is a bit brutal. And New Orleans can't finish lower than 7. It's all going on. Anyway, let's do some more news. Karl Anthony Towns for the 1 game back of the top of Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves. He's back tomorrow, seemingly. So you'll see Spindles Ingram come back on the weekend as well for the New Orleans Pelicans. Be a Pelican, not a Pelicant. And the Karl Anthony Towns thing, like, I kind of mentioned the other day, I'm like, I don't know if they need him. And then it's like, well, then they came out and had the exact game plan of we need him if we want to beat Denver. So, cool. Be interesting to see how these 2 quasi-superstars, 2 top 2 picks, etc. actually go. Be very interesting to see. Speaking of injuries, though, the Hawks, they look a bit cooked, don't they? Yes, Jim, they do. They're 2 games back of the Chicago Bulls in the 9-10 spots for that playing game out the East. Remember, loser goes home in that one. And the Hawks will be without Jalen Johnson, who's been quietly basically their 3rd best player this season. Yeah, I'd probably put him ahead of Trey. I'd probably go DeJounte Murray. Then I'd probably go Bogdan Bogdanovic. And then I'd probably go Jalen Johnson. Might even have Jalen above Bogdan. And all ahead of Trey. But either way, Jalen Johnson and Onyeka Okongwu are out. So Jalen Johnson's out for a couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks after spraining his ankle against the Heaters. And then Okongwu's going to miss at least a month after a non-surgical procedure about inflammation in his left toe. Interesting. Did he just get the... I wonder what sort of non-surgical procedure knocks you out for a month on your toe? It's an injection, Jim. Yes, I guess it is. Have you done that before, Jim? Yes, I have. Didn't knock me out for a month, but I wasn't playing in the NBA. Interesting one with Tim Connolly. This one, Shams just tweeted this one out today. He's like, you know who's really good? Tim Connolly. And you're like, I mean, you're not wrong. He's in charge of, like, Minnesota. They're basically on top of the West with the Denver Nuggets, who he used to be with as well. So he's built the top two teams in the West, basically. And then Shams like, Connolly's got an opt-out in his contract this season. Wow. I love a good Shams just lobbing a grenade in there. And he's like, oh, yeah, with all the ownership turmoil up there in Minnesota, man, it's all a bit screwy, eh? And you're like, yep, it really is. It would be funny if Glenn Taylor's penny pinching, well, accusing Mark Lore and A-Rod of penny pinching after years upon 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 years. They haven't won a playoff series since 2004. Just sheer dysfunction and suckiness. If the guy who just made them good, he went, I'm sick of this. You're a dickhead. I'm out. It'd be the most Wolves thing ever. And also, the Macklemore, so Ben Macklemore, thrift shop himself, was accused of rape, sexual assault. He obviously, well, you know, as these things tend to go, denies the charges, saying, yeah, look, haven't pursued anything with someone who doesn't, you know, want it, non-consensual, etc. Not my vibe. And you're like, all right, this is going to just suck for everybody. So, yeah, don't do that. It's like, oh, geez, yeah, I'm not that sort of guy. It's like, I don't know. If they're bringing up charges, who knows what's going on. Sort of sucks, but there you go. Macklemore denies it. All right, let's do some game wraps. Game wraps. That's right. Chicago kicked the crap out of the Detroit basketball Pistons, therefore making the Detroit basketball Pistons the worst Detroit basketball Pistons in franchise history, which is pretty remarkable because they have had some bad times. 127-105, good win by the Bulls. It was close early, then they just put him to the sword. Durant had 20 and 11. Ivy, Jaden Ivy had 16 and 6, went 3 of 5 from downtown. No Cade Cunningham, they're still looking after his knee. Sasser had 20 points and 5 assists, 4 of 10 from deep. He's like, look, Sasser's been a nice little steal. Just as we get to the end of this season, you know, I've been banging on this about for Washington for a while now, obviously Kispert and Denny, and like, just show us something from your young dudes. Sasser, Thompson, Ivy, like Durant, obviously, there is something sort of there, and obviously Cade Cunningham when he was healthy. There's something there for Detroit. I just don't know if Monty Williams is the guy to give a 6-year contract to helm it all. Anyway, the Bulls shot 53%. DeMar DeRozan there had 39 points. Jeez, 7 assists, 3 steals. Went 4 of 6 from deep. You know that no one gives a shit at the point of the season when DeMar's launching 6 threes. Vooch had 27, 11, and 4 as well. That's just dominating Durant. And Kobe White went 4 of 8 from deep, 18 and 5. Caruso put on a cruise show with 8 points, 10 assists, and 4 rebounds. Chicago, 38 and 42. Detroit basketball Pistons, 13 and 67. God, that's gross. Remember the start of the season when I was like, hey, definitely bet the Detroit under. Your mate Jim was right. I think out of those over-unders from the start of the season, we might have gone, I reckon, 7 of 10. That were the sort of ones I was most confident in. Anyway, the New York Knickerbockers of New York City beat the Boston Celtics. Up at there in Boston, 118-109. Wasn't really that close. 25-5 run in the second quarter, helmed by Jalen Brunson, just dropping a beautiful dime over the outstretched arm of a Extreme Zinger Meal.
Extreme Zinger Meal.
Really capped that just before the half. And that was it. They just sort of played him to a standstill after that. And every time the Boston threatened, Brunson was there to go, piss off, idiots. Josh Hart was fantastic. Celtics, look, they're just off the boil. This is a team that just doesn't care, right? It's fine. They got swamped on the boards, which might be the big problem. Even Joey Muzz came out after the game and was like, hey, Matt, I fucking hated how our rebounding was, man. It was fucking bullshit, man. I don't want to see us get fucking out rebounded like that much at all. That is fucked, mate. I'm going to fucking sit everybody down tomorrow during training and just show the town on the big screen. If there's going to be anything that gets them up and about, it'll be me showing them on the town tomorrow afternoon before the game. It's going to be fucking... We'll rebound the shit out of it tomorrow, mate. Don't worry about it. Jalen had 15 points and 15 shots. Tatum had 18, 4 and 7. Shot just like dog shit. Supercharged Zinger
Supercharged Zinger Burger.
14 and 8. Brutal. I love that Drew Holiday secured the bag. And he's like, dude, I'm in my hitting my mid-30s. I just got 137 million, shot 3 of 7 for his 7 points and a minus 26. Doing the old boys proud there, Drew Holiday. Derek White did the same thing. He's like, I can't believe he got paid, and I'm still sitting here with only 1 year left on my contract. 1 of 5 from the floor for 2 points, but it was Sam Hauser and Pritchard who actually fed it. 15 points and 16 respectively. But for the Knickerbockers, it was Brunson. God, he was good. 39. He was crushing in that first half. Put them to the sword. Never looked back. The OG Anunoby, he was a plus 20 in 26 minutes. This is why I kept telling you to keep an eye on the Knicks. They're awesome. They did hit like a tipping point of injuries when they're just like, right, we don't have OG, we don't have Randall, we don't have Mitch. Now they got Mitch and OG back. It might not matter that they don't have Randall. You only have the 12 points, didn't matter. 11, 13, and 6 for Isaiah Hartenstein. Hello. And Josh Hart had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 17 for Dante DiVincenzo. And my good friend Bojan Bogdanovic had 14 too. I do like that maybe the Randall thing and just like through sheer circumstance, Tibbs is just forced to play Bojan and goes, wait a minute, he's still good. 48 and 32 now for the Knicks. If they win out, it's their first 50-win season in ages. And Boston is 62 and 18. Still pretty good. Houston lost a laugher in Utah, 121, the Vernon Maxwell game. He would have been spewing about this. 124, 121. Hilarious loss for Houston. Fred VanVleet with Fighting Van Vliet's was massive. He's got 40, and he's just like, I'm the only thing keeping us alive here. And then he missed 13 straight shots. Yeesh. I mean, he still made a lot, including 9 of 13 from downtown, but still, it wasn't enough. Jalen Green was so bad, he might have been pulling a bit of a Jonte Porter. I'm just saying. Just saying. Watch that game and you're like, is he Jonte Portering this? He might be. And Utah had enough just down the stretch just to eke out the 3-point win. Fred VanVleet ends up with 42, 7, and 7. It was an incredible game. And then went ice cold right when it mattered. Cam Whitmore was actually sick in this one. He had 18, 4, and 4 as well. He is electric. God, I love him. I just don't know if I love him on Houston. Just a lot of loose units there, and he's kind of got like a bit of that vibe, you know what I'm saying? Al Jefe Green had 13, 15, 10, and 4. Amen Thompson. But for the Yazzie, Lucas Samanich, how good was that? 22, 2, and 6. Keontae Georgia, 20 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds as well. Love that. And THT, he was dynamite. He went 16, 5, and 5 against his old team. He had a bit of extra oomph as well. Tell you that much. Utah, 30 and 50. Houston, 39 and 41. For a game that didn't matter, that game was fucking fun as. The Pelicans beat the Kings. This game actually mattered, and the Kings did not show up. Then they did. Then they disappeared again. Then they rocked back up. That was this game. It was sick. Pelicans ripped off like a 17-0 run in the first quarter. They got up by 23. Kings went on a 15-0 run themselves to pull it back within 8. Then the Pals ripped off another 7. They got it back up by 15 in the second quarter. They sort of put it into cruise control for a bit there. And what happens when you do that? It tends to bite you in the arse, doesn't it? Oh, yes, mate. So there was another moment where they got it back within 2. They got it back within single digits right towards the end of the fourth quarter. But the Pelicans always sort of had an answer. So Zion, as I mentioned, sort of falls over, lands on his hand, disappears, and like it didn't matter because Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum was knocking in all of the threes. Between the two of them, they went 17 of 24. Now I'm no math magician, but that's bloody good. Woo! It really was. It was very good. But it was a fun, weird game, right? Like, the fact that it got down to 2 points like in the middle of the third quarter after they'd been up so big, given it away, gotten back up big, and then they got back up by like 20 in the fourth quarter, and then it got all the way back down to single digits. You're like, I don't trust either of these goddamn shit teams. Anyway, the Souvlaki King, he had 18, 10, and 4. There was a great moment where he's trying to take a charge on Zion, and everyone's like, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. What are you doing? You're going to end up looking like a lamb kebab. 33 and 8 for Fox. Pretty bloody good. 11 of 18. 3 of 7 from downtown. A few turnovers, but at the same time, 22, 5, and 4 for Harrison Barnes. And Keegan Murray, 19 and 5. Went 5 of 10 from deep. Everything Sacramento now just hinges on Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray actually hitting shots. And they're the two sort of dudes where you just can't rely on them game to game to actually hit the shots. Keegan Murray will be there in like a year. But at the moment, it's just a bit wonky. And Harrison Barnes has kind of never been that dude. He'll have like a week or two stretches where like, he is that dude. And then he regresses back to being Harrison Barnes. But Malik Monk, Kevin Huerta and co. It's a big, big, big hole to fill. maybe Harrison Barnes and Kangz can help, but geez, it's rough. Pelicans, you had CJ McCollum with 31. He hit 9 of 12 from downtown, as I mentioned. Zion had 31, 4 and 6 with 3 steals. He was everywhere. It was unreal. And Trey Murphy hit those 6 threes. He had 27. 13 and 10 for My Name is Jonas Valanciunas. He looks at this sort of team and just goes, yes, he's a little boy of friend of mine. Yes, I used to play his father. I play the son. I kick both their asses. Like, Jonas is just like, fucking him up. I'm just fucking him up. I'm sorry, Suva, but I'm going to fuck you up. 13 to 10. And Dyson Daniels is very handy in this one too. 10, 4 and 1. Talk about that in the Australian Player Watch. Same as Jock Rock'em, Block'em, Jock'em, Sock'em, Landale. The Pelicans now 48 and 32. So that's pretty interesting because it puts them back up into 6th, ahead of the Phoenix Suns. The really fun and cool part about that, he says, is the Pelicans play the Warriors and the Lakers, who are 2 of the teams behind them in the 9-10 spots. And Phoenix, yeah, they're sitting there going, oh, God, we're a game back of the Pelicans. What are we going to do, bro? What are we going to do? And Phoenix play the Kings and then the Wolves. It is chaos. It is absolute chaos at the end of that West playoffs. I love that. Anyway, and then finally, the Golden State Warriors without Draymond, without Clay, smoked Portland 192. Blazers shot 36%. Dominating was out there going, hey, does this game matter? And everyone's like, no. And he's like, sick. Check this out. I'm going to dominate. 25 and 11. God, he's a frustrating basketball player. Scoot Henderson, though, 18 points, 12 assists. That's good. He shot 7 of 20. That's bad. 17 and 16 for Jabari Walker. He's fun and do-up, bop, do-up, shib-a-dop, do-up. The great Barry Arif himself, 8 points, shot 2 of 10. He did have 5 rebounds and a block, though. The Warriors, Steph had 22. He came on 22 shots. He shot 8 of 22. 5 of 16 from downtown. 8 rebounds, 7 assists. 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Flip it up and reverse it. 19 and 6 for Johnny Cumbucket Kuminga. CP3 started. They started Steph, CP3 side by side, which is always fun to see. It was Wiggins, Kuminga, and Trace Jackson Davis, which was kind of weird and funky. And it's like, we're playing Portland. Who gives a shit? 10, 8, and 4 for actually Trace Jackson Davis as well. Golden State, 45 and 35. As I mentioned earlier, that's hilarious because they're now tied up with the Sacramento Kings and the Lakers in the 8, 9, 10, all with 2 games remaining. The Kings have got the tiebreaker at the moment, and that's pretty fun because they've got a 10 to 6 division record versus the Lakers and the Warriors. So sucked in. Let's do an NBA Straya Pro Performer of the Night.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Woo! Jalen Brunson. God, he was good against the Celtics, wasn't he? He just absolutely set the tone from the get-go. He had, 20 out of the absolute gate out of nowhere. Plays 30 minutes. He has 39 points. Shoots 15 and 23 from the floor. 6 of 11 from downtown. 3 of 5 at the line. 4 assists, 2 rebounds, only 2 turnovers. A plus 28. That's pretty good. I'll also give this one to Zion. God, he was unreal. Hurts his wrist, comes back, continues to dominate. 31, 4 and 6 with 3 steals and a block. He was everywhere, causing all sorts of havoc. And they've got this is without Ingram. And we know that their ceiling is pretty, substantially depressed without Spindles Ingram there. But it's games like this where you go, CJ McCollum hitting threes, Trey Murphy hitting threes, Zion running the show and just being the dude. God, they look dangerous. God, they look fun. You can throw these rangy defenders out there on the perimeter and Herb and Dyson and co. And then Spindles will come back and just be loafing around with these half-shot eyes and you're like, right. To the point where Zion, everyone loves him. He's just chill as hell after the game. They're trying to chat to him and trying to stitch him up with BI is going to come back and he's like, hey man, don't ask me that. We're just going to keep playing. Just going to keep playing. It's like, all right. How's it going to go, though? Nobody knows, mate. Nobody knows. Who was Spud of the Night?
Spud, 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 it is Spud of the Night.
Spud of the Night. We had a few Spuds today as well. Even with a limited array of games, we still got to, get our fair share of Spuds. You love that. We had a couple of offers. We had a couple of them. Actually, it wasn't too many. Only a couple of 0 for 2s and stuff. We had the 1 of 7s from Jalen Green, who I'm going to get to in a second. Justin Minaya from the Portland Trailblazers But the 1-6 for Deuce McBride and Precious and Ray and Rupert and Troy Brown Jr. Pretty brutal. But really, it's most of the Celtics. 5 of 13 for Jason Tatum, 6 of 15 for Jaylen Brown, 1 of 5 for Derek White. You also had, just a couple of other sketchy ones where you're like, hey, Boston, you going to hit any shots tonight? And they're like, nah, man. Just not gonna. The Jrue Holiday, 3 of 7. And the Extreme Zingamil, as mentioned, he shot 5 of 12. So anytime that no one on your starting lineup can shoot 50% from the floor, yeah, you're cooked, mate. You're cooked. I believe as a starting unit, they hit, 5 of 24 from 3. Yeah, it's not great. Just saying. Jesus. Spuds as far as the eye can see. And Jalen Green, as I said, he was so bad. You're like, Jonte Porter, ? 1 of 7 from the floor in 19 minutes, 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnovers and 2 fouls. Anytime your turnovers and fouls can completely outweigh your actual counting stats, mate, that is a spud and a half. A minus 23, though, in a game they lost by 2. Or 3. It was by 3. Absolutely brutal. What happened to March Jalen Green? Now I'm just conflicted and confused and angry because he made a mockery of my entire fantasy year. Thanks, Jalen. And then turns back into a spud when I don't need it anymore. Anyway, whatever. Who is old mate? No mates.
Old mate, 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 no mates.
Who's got no mates today? That would be the Detroit Basketball Pistons for setting a franchise record in losses, 67. Yeesh. Franchise record mark was set back in 1979-80. That was before they got Isaiah Thomas and co. Amazing gear. Good job by the Detroit Basketball Pistons. Glad you sank all that money into Monty Williams, ? Also, old mate, no mates, he's your fucking mate. I loved Anthony Edwards. I just love Anthony Edwards in general. But the way that he was asked about how hard it was to guard Nikola Jokic, he's like, I don't know. I don't have to guard him. It look hard. I don't know. Motherfucker's unstoppable. I don't know. You got to ask Naz and Rudy and Kyle. It looks hard. What a legend. He should have all the mates. Pantsing of the night. This would just be the Kings in general. So their aggression has been pretty rough to watch. But today, we're like, hey, does Sacramento realize that if they lose this game against a fellow team that is right there in the thick of the race for playoff seeding against us, if we beat them at home, then we stand a very good chance of finishing maybe, 7th, have at least home court for the play-in. Maybe we get into 6. Now they're done for 6. It's all over, Red Rover. Pack her up, boys. You're done. But the sheer lack of focus, control, and preparation was fucking wildly disturbing. You're like, all right, I know that you're missing some dudes, but they just got absolutely pantsed right out of the gate. Anyway, who was better than Lonzo Ball?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. He's coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. God, I love Trey Murphy. He was fan-bloody-tastic today. There was a couple of moments when the Kings were making that run late out the Pals, and he's like, I'm just here by myself. 3, bang. 27 points, 6 of 12 from downtown, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. The consistency of him this year has been really handy and really, really fun. And it means that the Pelicans, look, the Spindles Ingram decision, I think they'll have to make this offseason of going, could we maybe put that to use somewhere else and maybe with a talent that fits a bit better with Zion, perhaps? Perhaps. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Trey Murphy, easily better than Lonzo Ball today. Why is that, Jim? It's because Lonzo hasn't played in 2 years. And it's still a bit sad. But anyway, everyone's favorite segment, though. God, I love it. Let's do it. Cookie and I are praying for O.J. Simpson's children, Arnell, Aaron, Justin, Jason, and Sydney, and his grandchildren following his passing. I know this is a difficult time. What do we say? Thanks, Magic. I don't know what to say about that. I love that he doesn't know what to say. He's just like, I feel bad for the guy who died's kids. He and he says it's tough. Yep, it's just tough. It's just tough. And he's like, oh, I'd have hung out with OJ a lot. Gall. It's a tough one for Magic. Tough one. All right, finally, let's do Dickhead of the Week.
Dickhead of the Week.
A lot of Gilbert Arenas shit takes, Euros, and all like the Nikola Jokic MVP stuff is like the worst MVP in 40 years. I think, look, at this point, we can all just safely ignore. Look, I love Gilbert Arenas because that's his job. He's like, I'm going to say ridiculous shit. And you're like, okay, can you back it up? He's like, no. So, all right, then fuck off, idiot. I'm an agent provocateur. No, you're just a dickhead. All right, speaking of which, let's do some yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
and you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. NBA Straya Yeah Nah is brought to you by the NBA Straya shop. Get your merch, get your merch.
Debo. Get your merch, get your merch. Wear it. Get your merch, get your merch. Get your merch, get your merch.
Yeah, go on, do it. NBAstraya.com/shop or just click through on the socials where all the pretty pictures are. You get a hoodie, get a t-shirt, get a stubby holder, get a coffee mug. I don't have one in there today, actually. Old mate was using hers. Could have left that here, but it was full of old coffee. Anyway, do that. I'll hook you up with like a couple of stickers or something as well. Do that. Help me help myself pay for my dog's bills. I did appreciate Jez Oz hitting me up and going, look, Jim, sorry if I ever shit on you for like complaining about the vet bills. They just got a puppy and he's suddenly out $1,200. It's like, yeah, it sucks, but they're worth it, aren't they? Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I've still got the doggo. God, he was annoying today. I'm like, look, you've got diabetes, buddy. Can you not just like stand there at the back fence barking? What are we doing here? Anyway, are you worried about the Celtics? Yeah, nah, not really with these couple of weird funky losses at the end of the season. Even Joey Muzz was like, mate, don't worry about it, mate. We've already locked in our season, man. It's fucking fine. Don't worry about it. I'll get them back on track, eh? The thing is, they're so talented, they could fucking sleepwalk through, I reckon, probably the first two series in the East playoffs. Like, if it just broke the way it is today, right? They'd be sitting going, yeah, we don't care about Miami. We're going to fucking curb stomp Miami like we did a couple of years ago. Yes, we lost to them last year, but at the same time. And then you'd probably get stuck with like Cleveland, Orlando in that 4-5 spot to get through. And again, neither of them scare me if I'm a Celtics fan. And then even then on the other side of the ledger, like the Bucks, Giannis pulled a hammy. Philly might beat them in round one. Who knows? The Knicks is still probably the one thing where you've got OG, you've got Brunson. But lacking Randall, it's still like that one scoring punch. That would make me actually really worried. But yeah. The clutch scoring stuff as well as a team, it's not great for Boston. Like they're sort of mid-table-ish, but by the same token, like, what are you going to do? It's the scoring late that sort of does, where it just turns into ISO ball, where you're like, question marks, but to be honest, they should probably be fine for at least an Eastern Conference Finals run. But speaking of which, as Jalen Brunson almost forced his way on the All-NBA first team ahead of Jason Tatum. Yeah, nah. I'm still going to lean with Tatum. Because, I mean, Brunson's averaged a lazy 35 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds on 50, 39, 85 shooting for the last 15 games. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I just think Tatum has been super fucking solid all year in a pretty difficult position. At the same time, he hasn't had to carry the entire load like Brunson has for a lot of this season. So maybe. But I think Tatum's still ahead for me. Brunson's fucking fantastic. They've gone 10-5 in those 15 games as well. So there you go. Are the Kings any chance of getting through a round in the playoffs this year, Jim? Yeah, nah. They're the young team that does well, and then the next year it all sort of falls apart a little bit, and they have to sort of figure out exactly what they are. We've seen this plenty of times, right? It was like the the Hawks that beat the Sixers that made the Eastern Conference Finals. That was a team like that. To be honest, it was almost like last year's sort of Thunder or Jazz, right? Where it's like, are we good? And then the Jazz were like, oh, I think we might be. Oh, we're kind of tanking actually sneakily. It sort of happens to young teams, right? Like you'll have a team like the Thunder or like the Nuggets, the Wolves, etc., where it's like, oh, we're on an upward trajectory and we're going to keep winning heaps of games and games and games. And the Kings, they had such good health luck last year, and obviously not so much down the stretch this year, that it makes it really tough to sort of keep that rolling, right? And to at least really sort of challenge for that sort of like, no, we're a proper contender. It's like, oh, your offense was so potent at times, but it was when you were healthy, right? So it gets pretty sketchy when you start missing some dudes and it all sort of falls apart. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. We see it happen quite often though, right? Memphis, they took that sort of step and then fell back, but it was mostly injury based. This has just been sort of like, we were really good, we were really healthy. And then this year, we were pretty good. We were basically on the exact same pace, and then we copped a bit of bad injury luck, and yeah, it all sort of fell apart. It would not surprise me if they end up in the 9-10 play and get bounced in the first game, let alone win an actually series, you know what I'm saying? It's a damn shame. I love Fires and Laser. Anyway, we had a good one from Matty O. That's right, the back-to-back champ of the NBA Straya Legends League won in the old fantasy. Matty O pulled off the double. He won the NFL Legends League and the NBA Straya Legends League. He's just dominating it. And it's like, oh, God, dynasty level shit. The guy is off chops. Good on him. Absolutely smashing it too. Absolute chaos. Absolutely. And I think Dan Drosha won one as well, which is awesome. So he's absolutely crushed it. D-Bombs Raptors, just, it's just good to see good people doing good. Love that. Anyway, Matty O. So we talked out the Boomers squad and like who we take to Gay Paris. Matty O's simple response was Delhi. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. I talked this out a little bit on yesterday's show. I think for vibes, yeah. I think in terms of talent, if you don't take him to the last World Cup, I think it gets very hard to take him to Paris. I'm the dude with a fucking cutout of the bloke behind me right now if you're watching on YouTube. Like, it's hard. I personally would take him. I don't know if Gorge will. I think there's a couple of other little... I think we could probably use more size. I think we've got a fuck ton of guards. That's going to be the simple answer. Matty O also, when are we going to see the Spurs / Pistons and Hornets make a leap like the OKC, Thunder, and Magic and Wolves this season? Surely these high draft picks have to turn their franchise around sooner or later. Yeah, nah. Yeah, I think this is the interesting facet. Like, now that we're hitting the end of this regular season and it's like teams like that have just been pumping games into their young dudes. I think the Hornets, if they have a healthy LaMelo, Brandon Miller's very, very good. We've seen Miles Bridges, even though he's a piece of shit, do, pretty good things. They've got a couple of young bigs as well. The Spurs have got Wemby. The Pistons have got Ivy and Cade and Jalen. And as I laid it sort of out, the problem is I think there's just so much talent. And this has been one of my big things here on NBA Straya for a while now. There's so much fucking talent in the NBA right now that you can have like good young talent and still be shit. Like the Thunder and the Magic. Like I think you're sort of seeing the Magic and their lack of a move at the trade deadline for an actual point guard bite them in the ass a little bit. And it'll probably bite them in the ass in the playoffs too. But at the same time, like they've got Paolo, they've got Franz, they've got Suggs, they've got Wendell. Like they've just got lottery talent up and down that roster. Like, what is that? 2 number 1 picks in Fultz and Banchero. And like OKC, same sort of thing. But like they just, between Giddey, Jay Will, Chet being the really high draft pick, it's really well balanced with all their youth. I think the balance is the key part. Like the Pistons do not have any balance. The Spurs are so overbalanced in favor of Wembanyama that it's chaos and they just sort of need to put the right pieces around him. They will. It might take a year or two though. So I think the Pistons and the Spurs still might be a bit crummy next year. The Hornets, if they get a half-decent coach who can like have LaMelo healthy, maybe. I worry about their defense though as a team. So I think we might not see those 3 teams take that OKC Magic Wolves leap for another couple of years, which is kind of weird, but someone's going to be bad. Unpopular opinion of the day. That's pretty unpopular, I guess. Jeez. What is it?
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me, look at me, look at me. I love Zion. Love watching Zion, like just in general. He's awesome. When he's up and about, it's great. I hate when people go, he's a unicorn. He's a unicorn. I'm like, have you not seen fucking Charles Barkley? Have you not seen Larry Johnson? It's like, he's awesome. They're crazy talented. Like, he's basically Larry Johnson 2.0. I've been banging on about this for years. He's awesome. He's crazy talented, but he's also always fucking hurt. But when he does actually have it, you're like, this guy is unfucking real and he's great fun to watch. I loved LJ. Grandmama. Anyway, Outback Takehouse. It's Friday at Outback. You know what that means? Oh, yeah. 4 for 1 icy cold oil drum cans full of icy cold Foster's Lager. That's right. It's Australian for definitely not horse piss. Asterix. Actual horse piss. And 4 for 1 oil drum cans the size of your bloody head. And it's only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is the Boston Celtics are going unbeaten all the way through to the Eastern Conference Finals. Only at Outback. Seriously, as soon as I sort of laid that out, who they could feasibly be playing, I'm like, there is a very good chance they just go fucking bang. I'll tell you. All right, Australian Player Watch. Let's hear from Delhi and then get into it.
This is Matthew Delvedova and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. Australian Player Watch today. We only had Rock'em Sock'em Block'em Jock'em Landau, the Vacuum, and Doo-Wop out there. But Jock played 27 minutes. He had 9 points. He went 3 of 3 from the floor, 1 of 1 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the line, 1 rebound, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. He filled it up. In a game they lost by 3, he was a plus 10. And they did not do him any favors. God, watching that team play offense the last couple of games has been fucking brutal. But he was really good. He had the perfect shooting game. 3 of 3, 1 of 1, 2 of 2. Great job, the Rooster. We mentioned how Dyson, the Vacuum, Daniels went a little bit earlier. He filled it up too, which is always good to see. Because I just, A, want to see him healthy. B, see him play. Because he's awesome. 25 minutes, 4 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 5 from downtown, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And 1 turnover. Nice. And then we had the Great Barrier Reef up against the Golden State Warriors. No Aussie Matty T. He sat this one out. Doo-Wop played 14 minutes. He went 2 of 10, 1 of 4 from downtown. 3 of 3 at the line, though. 5 rebounds, 1 block, 8 points. Bloody good. Doo-Wop, bop, bop, doo-wop. All right, let's do a Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award.
He threw it down. Are you healed? Are you healed? Praise the Lord, I'm healed.
Praise the Lord, for I'm healed. It is the Shane Hill
Shooters shoot.
Shoot Your Shot, Light 'em Up award.
Yeah, do it, because I just want to do a quick one of just checking who's made the most threes this year. And it was fascinating when you sort of check out the list and you're like, oh, yep, Steph at number 1 with 350 made threes for this season. That is a lot. Good job. Luka is second at 284. Who do you think is number 3? Insert name here. They've made 276 threes this season. If you answered, Adonde DiVincenzo, you were correct. I don't know if many people would have answered that because Klay Thompson's 4th at 259 and Paul George is 5th at 241. At 6, it's Bogdan Bogdanovic at 235. Tatum, interestingly enough, at 7th with 229. CJ at 227 with Fred VanVleet, tied 8. And D'Lo and Malik Beasley tied at 10 with 221. Pretty remarkable. It's a weird list, and it's also, that is a lot of fucking threes to shoot, isn't it? Let alone hit. Nice. Good stuff. And a bit of a sweaty, hairy bloke of the week, the old Mark Brokey Memorial. I just, look, watching the Souvlaki King go up against Jonas Valanciunas, my name is Jonas, I'm like, this is the sweaty, hairy bloke of the week award winners, MVPs, just going at it. There was sweat flying everywhere. They both smelled like goulash. It was all happening. All right. Patty Mills Game Day Baller, Game Day Twitter check-in. Let's go. Paddy is on a posting frenzy at this point, which is fan-bloody-tastic. I mean, for everybody. Because he's just one of the great follows. And we would run through a fucking wall for him. So he's got the newest one, the Outfit Breakdown Tunnel Drip. It is awesome. Kid Super Studios. It's a hell of an outfit, I'll tell you what. Go check it out. Just on his Instagram. Looking good, looking sharp. And he says, enthusiasm is contagious. If I design my own collection, would you rock it and drip or knock it and drown? I mean, I don't think I am quite the clothes horse that Paddy Mills is, but if I have to support my man, I will. Right, let's do some game previews. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. What's on for the weekend? Going on the footy tomorrow. Take the squid. That'll be fun. Hang out. Do a footy show on Sunday. It's all going on. We had a bit of a rough one, I think, of the 5 games. What do we nailed the Chicago pick. We nailed the Knicks pick. And then, oh no, we nailed the New Orleans. So 3 of 5. We'll actually take that. It's not bloody bad. Houston really cooked it for us though, didn't they? Tomorrow though, and this is it. Like, it's actually pretty hard to sort of navigate some of these lines at the very end of the season because you're like, sure, Utah are going to show up today with like a really, really inexperienced team and beat Houston, who are actually playing all their dudes. You're like, fucking sure. Saturday, we have Orlando at Philly. I'm taking the Sixers minus 6.5 because they will still be trying desperately to get into that. They're 1 game behind Indy, who play in Cleveland. The Sixers will be going hammer and tongs. They've got Embiid back. I am worried about Orlando and their big fellas standing up because the Magic have just looked cooked the last couple of games. So I'll take Philly minus 6.5 at home. I don't really want to, but that's where we're at. That's what seems a bit smart. Like, Orlando are very, very, very handy against the line. They have been all season, but the way they've played the last couple of days is not great. Chicago, they go to Washington. It would be very funny if the Bulls lost this, so let's go see if they can. Nah, they're 1.5 point favorites. On a back-to-back, though, you know what? The Wizards could very well win this, but if they're still resting Kuzma and stuff, I think the Bulls have enough. If Kuz plays, I'd probably go the Wiz. Brooklyn go to New York. The Knickerbockers, even on a back-to-back, they're 11.5 point favorites against the Nets. It's a borough rivalry, not really. I think Brooklyn will cover this, but they'll lose. It's 11.5. It's a bit. The Knicks on a back-to-back, they need to keep winning out, obviously, so they should win this game. They're in the 3 seed right now. They're only 1 game up on Cleveland, but that's right, Cleveland. But I think the Knicks will be too good. Brooklyn will just make it close enough. Just weird, random Cam Thomas game. Charlotte, they go to Boston. I think the Celtics, after today's loss, get a bit of a file in under their ass. They'll cover that 10.5 point line. Even if they rest dudes, I wouldn't be surprised if they covered that. So just keep an eye on like the lineups. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they rest a couple of their guys for a back-to-back and just sort of take care of Charlotte. Because they don't have to play anybody. There's no real reason to. It's just like conditioning at this point. So keep an eye on the lineups. If more than 2 of their sort of regular starters are out, I'd probably go Charlotte plus 10.5. But for the moment, we'll go Boston. Indy, Cleveland. This game is chaotic. It's awesome. It's fun. Donnie Mitchell versus Tyrese Halliburton. This is the 6 seed versus the 4 seed right now. There is only 1 game splitting them. I think Cleveland might be a little bit too good at home. Maybe with their lineup, sort of, if it's all healthy, 2.5 point favorites. I'll probably take that. Indy have been pretty good. They've won 3 on the trot. Siakam, Halliburton, and Co. very handy, but I think the Cavs might have a little bit too much at home just to salt away basically the top 4 seed. The Lakers, Memphis. I'll take the Grizzlies plus 14.5 with Jack White. I think the Lakers will win it. I don't think they'll go all out. I think they'll win it by about 10. Atlanta, Minnesota. Let's go the Wolves minus 12.5. Atlanta have just been decimated by injuries, as I mentioned earlier. And the Wolves obviously need to keep winning out to stay on top of the West. We have Toronto at Miami. It's a 14.5 point line. Toronto really took it to Brooklyn the other day. I think the Raps will put up a little bit of a fight there in Miami as well. So give me the 14.5 for Toronto. Denver minus 11.5 against the San Antonio Banderas Spurs. I doubt the Spurs risk Wemby, right? So I think I'll take Denver minus 11.5 as they put a little bit of a shellacking on this no-name Spurs squad sans Wemby. Milwaukee, they take on the Oklahoma City Thunders. The Thunders. It's a weird one. 14.5-point favorites of the Thunder because I think Giannis is obviously out. I think on top of that, Dame is doubtful. The Thunder, 14.5-point favorites. They need to keep obviously winning as well. They're right there. They could end up still with the 1 seed. So give me the Thunder. Minus 14.5. A bit of a smashing. Detroit, they take on Dallas. 13.5. We did see Dallas the other day just demolish a couple of bad teams. They kicked the crap out of Charlotte. I think I'll take Dallas minus 13.5 at home. Houston, Portland. This is a 5.5-point line for Houston. I think they might put the Q in the rack here. Give me Portland plus 5.5. Even if Houston pull out a win, it'll be very close. Give me the Blazers plus 5.5. Or maybe Houston, just like some of their veteran talent. 5.5. I just don't trust them though with that line. Golden State, New Orleans, the Warriors versus the Pelicans. This game is awesome. I'm going to take the Warriors at home. I think they rested Clay and Dre specifically for this game to give themselves a really good crack at actually sneaking up into the 7 spot. Give me Golden State. They're playing pretty bloody well. Clippers, Utah. Clippers are 14.5-point favorites with the Yaz on a back-to-back. Don't know who's going to play for the Clippers, though. They should be resting their dudes. I might take Utah plus 14.5 there. And then Phoenix, Sacramento. 5.5-point favorites are the Kings. I'll take that after what we... 5.5-point underdogs are the Kings at home. And after what we saw today, I'm going to take the Suns. And then, as mentioned, there's no games on Sunday. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? I mean, seriously, what are we doing here?
What was that?
What the hell?
What the hell was that?
No one knows. But it is good because it sort of gives everybody one day off. And then we play all the final games. So on Monday, this will be our last, we'll do this show on Monday after all these games are done. I think it's an early start as well, where it's like a 3 a.m. start for a lot of the East Coast games. And then it goes into, 3 a.m., 5:30 a.m. So this will basically, I might be able to do like a Monday morning show and wrap that all up for you because we'll have our playoff games and seedings and play-ins all sorted and ready to roll off by the time I tape at like 10 a.m. on Monday. So we'll have a really early show for you Monday morning, which would be good. So all the first half of these games are at 3 a.m. and then you get out west. So all the East are playing at 3 and all the West are playing at 5:30. That is fucking awesome fun. So we start with Washington, Boston. The Celtics will win that no matter who they roll out there. Cleveland should beat Charlotte as well because they'll still be scrapping for placing. Same with Indy over Atlanta. Miami should take care of Toronto back-to-back. New York, I reckon they'll beat Chicago because the Knicks want to stay in that 3 spot. Orlando should take care of Milwaukee. Poor one out for those poor Bucks. Philly. Well, the Bucks, so they pulled 2 wins out of their ass, did the Bucks. I just really struggle to see them keeping their noses right there in front, but they should stay. They're 1 game up on the Knicks. The Bucks really have to win one of these last 2 games, but it looks like they're going to get cooked tomorrow, so maybe they bounce back and win that one against Orlando. Yeah, maybe they will. Give me Milwaukee. Bit of a contrarian pick. Brooklyn, Philly. Philly should smash this horrible Nets team. Denver should beat Memphis. No worries there. Especially the 1 seed still on the line. The Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Suns. That'd be fun as. Phoenix might need to win this, but so might Minnesota. I trust the Wolves more than the Suns, that's for sure. The Lakers, the Pelicans. Lakers had been rolling, and then they sort of just hit a little bit of a speed bump. I think they could beat this Pelicans team with the Pelicans having just played like 3 games in, 4 days? That could be a really tough one for the Pels, even at home against the Lakers. I'll take the Lakers. OKC host Dallas. Dallas don't need to risk anybody for this, so expect OKC to win that one pretty handily. Detroit at San Antonio. I think the Spurs, Q firmly in the rack. Don't give a shit. Detroit might win that one. Utah at Golden State. They've still got to be playing for stuff, so I'll take the Warriors. Houston Clippers. I think the Clippers might rest dudes again, just to get them right for the playoffs. Houston, I think, can probably win that one. And then finally, Portland, Sacramento. The Kings should beat the Portland Trailblazers at home. So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. What an awesome array, though. 3 a.m. Boston, Washington, Charlotte, Cleveland, Atlanta at Indy, Toronto at Miami, Chicago at New York, Milwaukee at Orlando, Brooklyn at Philly. And then from 5:30 a.m., we've got Denver at Memphis, Phoenix at Minnesota, Lakers at Pelicans, Mavs at Thunder, Pistons at Spurs, Jazz at Warriors. It's a soft J, Yaz. The Rockets at the Clippers. That's the old Chris Paul. Police! Chris Paul's trying to kill me. And Portland Kings. Amazing gear. That'll be Monday. We've tipped them all for you. And then when you hear from us again, we will know who is playing who for at least 3 of the playoff series in each round. No, 2 of the rounds. Yes? 2. 2 of the series will be set up because we'll have 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 in East West, whereas 1 and 8 and 2 and 7. Is it too much of a disadvantage? No, who cares? Fucking grow up. It's going to be fun as though. So we'll talk to you on Monday. And I reckon we'll also have a little bit of time to do the diary of Steven Adams, his season-long diary, which will be fun as, won't it? Oh, yes. I've missed doing that, as I mentioned on yesterday's show. But in the meantime, of course, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facebook, IG. We're all over the socials. Get around NFL Straya as well, myself and Gaz. But of course, AFL Today Show, the footy show. It is fun as. You can check that out on YouTube, on your podcast apps as well. Really good time. We do that on a Sunday night as well for all the footy gear. Oh, yes. So that's 3 shows a week. Go check it. AFL Today Show on all your podcast apps and, of course, across all the socials. On Facebook, it's actually Sports Today Show too. Check us a rating review for all of our shows on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you're using the Android phone. It does really help out heaps. Get around it. It's the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast as well. Hold all tickets for horsey stuff. Get around NBAstraya.com/shop and get your merch. Always a big thanks go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Check out House Hats, Joshua Delarentis, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section Green, and Dozers for all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Face, Apple Music, Spotify. Remember, NBA Straya supports Australian bands. Love that. We're going to close out today's show with the classic Cooking with Bainesy as well for you. We'll have a diary of Steven Adams probably on Monday's show. That'll be fun. I can't wait. And until then, have a great weekend. Sink a few tins. Bend your elbow. Have a good time. Look after yourselves. Be safe. And remember, it's NBA Straya saying look after yourselves, would you? And later as a night.
Cooking with Bainesy is filmed in front of a live studio audience. And now it's time for Cooking with Bainesy with your host, Aaron Bangers Baines. Yeah. All right, g'day. Oh, g'day. Oh, look at yourself. Yes, g'day, Cheryl. I always see you down the front. Yeah. All right. Oh, come on, settle down. Thanks very much. Yes, welcome to Cooking with Bainesy. I'm your host, Aaron Bangers Baines. And look, on this here episode, we are going to whip up one of my all-time absolute Aussie favourites. It's going to blow your mind. You can have it whenever. It's an absolute bloody treat. It is the classic party pie. Yeah, that's right. We're going to cook up some party pies for you on this episode of Cooking with Bainesy. Now, I love me some party pies. They're easy as, mate. Definitely helps keep up this physique, you know what I'm saying? I reckon I probably put away about 40 of these buggers per week, eh? Easy. All right, so. All right, you ready? So it's bloody simple, mate. Yes, all you gotta do is go down to your local soupy and just grab a box of party pies of whatever takes your fancy. Because look, now, I like the round ones and you can get a pack of 24 of patties, but I do also like the 4 and 20 party pies, which come in those rectangles. They're a bit easier to eat because you can just grab the end and you're not going to burn your tongue. So whatever you prefer, just don't fuck around with the party packs. The sausage rolls are absolutely bloody rubbish. So, now, it's bloody simple. Just preheat your oven to 250 degrees or as hot as you bloody well want. Dump all 24 of your party pies. Don't screw around and only do 12 or half of them or whatever. Put all 24 out there because you're going to eat all of them. Trust me, you're going to eat all of them. When she's all heated up, your oven, put your tray in there. Just, I don't know, look at the back of the package. See that it says 30 minutes. Now, go crack a tin, sit back, hang out. Once they're done, grab them out, load them up with a bit of tomato sauce, and Bob's your bloody uncle. That is awesome, isn't it? Just look at it now. Look. This is very important. Give them a second to cool down. You probably have to only bite like the edge of one of them to open it up just to see how hot it is. Because otherwise, you'll burn your bloody tongue because the insides of these buggers are like bloody molten lava, eh? So, grab yourself another tin. Wait for them to cool down just a little bit so they're not bloody molten lava. Then get your bloody munch on. Oh, there you go. Look at this one. That's an absolute bloody ripper. The best bit is, these are as good as anything for any occasion. You got mates coming around, party pies. Missus with some of her mates, party pies. Kid's birthday, party pies. Getting home shit-faced after a night out of the Terps, party pies. Easy. They're just bloody delicious, mate. All right, look, I'm just going to munch in this, and I'll probably cook up enough of them for all of you. Look at this. Here we go. Oh, how easy is that? Love it. All right, so get into the party pies. And that's it for this week. How easy. All right, tune in next week for a new recipe, and we'll see you then on the next episode of Cooking with Bainesy.